Thank you. Now, I urge you to wear good masks when you're indoors with anybody, except people you live with, you don't mask each other, that's okay, as long as you're protecting yourselves together. I don't want any of you to become permanently harmed by COVID. There's a small chance, but not minuscule, that you'll get long COVID. You could have brain fog for the rest of your life, fatigue all the time for the rest of your life. That would be a shame. I don't want that to happen to me, and I was taking precautions about that. But now you can see that I've gone through somewhat of a change.
Don't hear you.
Is the mic not working? Oh, I see. It has to be too close to me. Okay. I hope you will wear masks to protect yourselves from catching COVID, because there's a certain chance you'll get long COVID, you can have brain fog for the rest of your life, you can have fatigue all the time for the rest of your life. That was my original reason for protecting myself carefully from COVID. I don't want those things to happen to me because I want to do something. I want to be capable of doing things that I can contribute. And long COVID could make that impossible. It could do it to you too. That would be a shame too. But I have a worse problem now. I have cancer. It's a kind of lymphoma. Fortunately, it can be managed, and I'll probably be around for many more years. So it hasn't made a fundamental change in my life. I'm still working for free software and other causes I support separately, and still involved in carrying the GNU project forward. And so that's why I don't have much hair anymore, but other than that, I basically look the same. When you get to see me with the mask off, which I do outside, much safer there. So, there were some jokes I wanted to tell about this, but most of them are gone. But I do have this port. They put this port in here so they can stick needles in fast. But there's a problem. No ships are coming. No ships have docked at this port since I first had it put in. Now, I thought I would get some commerce from this port, and it would help me pay for these treatments I'm getting. But it turns out what they put in is a one-lumen port. It's so dim that sea captains can't see that it's there. So I'm going to demand a 10,000 lumen, basically, lighthouse to guide ships to dock at my port. Anyway, so one of the issues that the free software world faces is the rather nasty Red Hat support contract. I don't see that there is a basis to sue Red Hat for does it violate the new general public license? I don't have a conclusive answer to that, but what's clear is that it's antisocial. Specifically, to tell people they'll be punished with, or could be punished, Their support contract might be canceled or might not be. Morally speaking, there's no difference between that and saying it will be canceled. It's just making the situation more veiled behind an irrelevancy. Effectively, they're threatening to cancel support contracts for users who do what they're supposed to be able to do, which is to redistribute the free software they're getting from Red Hat. And this Red Hat should stop. Now there's a separate aspect, which is to get support, customers have to pay based on how many users are getting the support, how many machines the support is for. That's a secondary issue. I don't think that that is particularly harmful. The crucial harmful thing is that they're trying to stop users from redistributing GNU software, other free software, since sharing redistribution is what it's for. So I hope that the community's influence will make Red Hat change that aspect of those contracts. We've been hearing a lot about artificial intelligence, and that term carries a terrible confusion, because in addition to, as I see it, the term intelligence means something's ability to know or understand some area. If something can't actually understand things, we shouldn't say it's intelligent, not even a little intelligent. But people are using the term artificial intelligence for bullshit generators. It's not, I don't understand what's happening. I'm holding it here. Does it sometimes work and sometimes not? What's happening? Oh, well, that's not usually a good thing to do, but okay. Because I don't notice when it stops. It sounds the same to me. What? How long did people not actually hear me?
I think we hear you, but not as well as
Oh.
So you don't have to repeat.
Okay. People agree I don't have to repeat? So, people were talking about systems like ChatGPT, which doesn't understand anything and doesn't know anything. That's why I call these systems bullshit generators. Because the only thing that they're good at is making smooth sounding output, any part of which could be bullshit. You can't believe it ever. Well, you're dumb if you do. So I don't want to call those artificial intelligence or anything with the word intelligence in it. Because calling them that, encourages people to think that what they're saying is not bullshit. It encourages people to believe, and that gives them the chance to do great harm. So I distinguish those two areas. There is real artificial intelligence. For instance, there are programs that can look at a photo of magnified photo of some cells and tell you with greater likelihood of being right than any human doctor whether it's cancerous. Or, for instance, there are artificial intelligence systems that can figure out what's going to attract people's attention very, very effectively. And these are used by anti-social media platforms. And sad to say, they work very well. They're very good at what they do. And what they do is getting users or users addicted. It's a plague on society. And this is an illustration of something that AI can do.
which we should not permit it to be used for. It should be illegal to run systems, whether they're artificial intelligence or not, however, whether there's machine learning or not, however, regardless of how they work, it should be illegal to operate systems to recommend to users things that are likely to make them get more engaged in the system in question, because that's addicting people, and we now know that the effects of that on society are terrible. They're disastrous. They include suicide. But we have to realize that if there are things we don't want programs to be used for, the way to achieve this is by making it illegal to use programs to do that. Software licenses are not the right way to prevent a program from being used harmfully. That's not what software licenses are effective for. They're not powerful enough to achieve that goal. And meanwhile, because they're chosen by private entities, it's undemocratic for the choices to be made by those private entities. It's legitimate for a democratic country to pass a law saying you can't run a platform designed to maximize users' engagement. But it's not legitimate for someone who wrote a program and published it to put on a license with that same condition. Because private entities shouldn't have this kind of power over other entities, over people. How long has this been? This is a real pain in the neck. Does this have a low battery? Because I've heard things like this happen when a microphone has a low battery. Is there another microphone?
No, because you're letting it.
What?
You're slowly dropping it as you.
Yeah, of course, but I don't generally find that mics need to be held this close to the mouth unless there's a weak battery. Is that what's happening? The point is, I'm going to forget it again and again. It's no use hoping I won't. That's not a solution. We can suffer having this happen over and over. I'll do my best. But you know what my best is. It's not going to be better after now than it's been the past few minutes. I'm sorry, but that is beyond me change. Well, in any case, so the point is, people who are trying to solve the dangers of real artificial intelligence by software licenses that restrict what people can do with the program when they get it, they're barking up the wrong tree. It's an ineffective, unreliable solution, and it's also an injustice because it denies people the freedom that every program wants to give them. Now, this is not the first time we've seen people try to do this. There are various software licenses that people have published that restrict what a program can be used for, and they've always been wrong. There's a page in GNU.org/philosophy called Why Software Licenses Must Not Restrict the Freedom to Run. I think that's what it's called, but you can find it. The situation is unchanged. The real problems of AI, the harmful uses like deepfakes, they should be prohibited by law, and individuals should not make these laws. Democratic governments should. Now, in regard to bullshit generators, well, what should we do about that? If there are, clearly, if something can be done, it should be done by laws passed democratically and not software licenses. Well, what can actually be done? Well, one thing is perhaps a labeling requirement, publishing any output made by a bullshit generator, even partly by a bullshit generator, should have to have a label saying, this was generated by a language model, don't believe anything it says is true. You're agreeing?
Microphone.
Oh, how much did people not hear this time?
Good, we tell you now immediately.
Okay, good. So the point is, that might help. And in general, not calling it artificial intelligence, not supporting the belief that they're anything but gobbledygook, expecting to find errors in whatever they said. This will help society become somewhat resistant to the harm that they can do. Now, one of the conundrums we face in our community is, how do we get young people interested in free software? Now, children sometimes can get interested in free software. I'm afraid that there is a problem that happens once the calamity of peer pressure sets in. Now, I was safe from peer pressure. I was completely out of popularity. I gave up on trying to be popular. I just said, it's a waste of time for me to do anything trying to be popular, so I won't bother. And so I was safe. And there's some others who are safe. Maybe we can find them and interest them in free software so that they can find a community of people that is not so superficially focused on imitating everybody before everybody else imitates each other. Maybe. But we can also look at the anti-social media platforms that exacerbate this effect. The platforms on which people are trying to compete with each other to do stupid things. And look at the other terrible effects that they have, which include causing psychological illnesses, suicide, lunacy, terrible suspicion of each other. Again, I don't have children, and I don't work with children, but I read about these things, and they sound pretty damn horrible. Maybe if we prohibit operating recommendation engines that are designed to encourage people to be more engaged in whatever platform it is, all these problems might become less. There is no reason in the world why these companies should be allowed to do whatever profits them the most, and designing their recommendation engines to suit their desires is not what we have understood freedom of expression to mean. It's not really expression of anything. It's freedom of manipulation, freedom of engineering people's brains to be ideal victims. Maybe that's something society needs to prohibit. Maybe the kinds of censorship that intrude in areas that are, in some sense, expression of views and ideas will not do so the harm we're scared of if these platforms can't magnify their influence by making people addicted. I think it's worth a try. So, at this point, I guess it's time for me to ask questions. Do you have another question?
No, I have one microphone up
I'll
there.
stand there.
Okay.
Hello? 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 This microphone doesn't have the problem. That's okay.
Hello.
You can.
It works. Hello, hi Richard. This is my first time attending Free Software Foundation event, and I just want to know FSF.
Excuse me. Please speak
Slowly.
slowly.
Yes.
I have hearing problems.
Okay, of course.
Please just let me explain them. There's three things you need to do for me. One is to speak loud. Well, you're doing that. The next one is to speak slower. And the next thing is to pronounce each consonant carefully, the way I'm doing now. And that will help you stay slow. And that will make it possible to recognize the sounds you're saying. That's where my problem is. And there's no remedy I have. It's up to you.
Should I just stand up to make the sound propagate properly into the air?
You're doing that. That's not, it's to pronounce them carefully. When you speak like this, I can't recognize the words. That doesn't work
Okay.
because of my limits.
Okay. As I could see, you have done a lot of work in free software movement, and I saw an organization, a non-profit organization earlier before FSF. They have a similar mission, which is to promote the anonymity in the internet. This organization is the, I wouldn't say competition organization, but it's like
What's the name of it?
MIT, and they have this Sloan Foundation supporting the Tor network. So I am just wondering how you would compare yourself. It's not that kind of compare, but just as analysis, a comparison between FSF and Tor network, Tor project. It's also a nonprofit powered by
Okay.
this Sloan. And I'm having a problem with MIT right now.
Is it an M or is it an N? Mike or November?
Massachusetts Institute of Technology.
Oh.
So they have this Sloan Foundation supporting Tor project. And I wonder